Others are split, but there's no doubting the style of Pep's Man City. There was a wonderful kind of chaos about the aftermath of Manchester City's victory over Newport County in their FA Cup fifth-round tie last Saturday as crowds of home fans clustered around the makeshift building that houses the changing rooms at Rodney Parade, waiting for City's Harlem Globetrotters to emerge. Journalists making their way down from the press box in the Hazell Stand were directed around the back of the building to get to the post-match press conferences on the other side of the stadium. They walked past Pep Guardiola, pacing around outside with his phone pressed to his ear, a picture of restless energy, and looked through an open door to see City's players celebrating with gusto. It was fascinating to see City taken out of the environment of the Premier League and how they dealt with it. Guardiola said he was more proud of their victory in South Wales than he was of times when they beat another elite team. Later, the City players invited their beaten opponents into their changing room to chew the game over. It meant a lot to the Newport players, according to manager Michael Flynn. "Their players are full of class and their manager is full of class," said Flynn, as he looked back on City's 4-1 victory. The other thing about City that day was the way they played. They did not make any concessions to the environment. They had been issued with dire warnings about the state of the pitch, which still bore the markings of the rugby matches played there by Newport Gwent Dragons, but they did not compromise their style. Phil Foden dominated the game with his elusive movement and his slick passing. Ederson still insisted on playing the ball out from the back. At a time when other leading clubs, particularly Arsenal and Chelsea, are struggling with crises of identity, City will attempt at Wembley on Sunday to win the first of the 4 trophies they are chasing this season, securing the strongest identity of any team in the top 4 divisions, with honourable mentions for Liverpool, Spurs, Leeds and Norwich. "We know what we are going to get with City, whether they are playing on a poor pitch on the banks of the River Usk, in the Champions League first knockout round against Schalke 04, on another poor pitch in Gelsenkirchen, or at Wembley in the Carabao Cup final against Maurizio Sarri's struggling Chelsea." In the midst of his first season at the Etihad, when some analysts said Guardiola would never be a success in the English game because his style would not suit the Premier League, he was adamant that he would never surrender his football identity. "I'm sorry, but never in my life am I going to change the way I want to play football," he said. "It's the only way I have. I can make mistakes, be judged for many things, but I have only one power: my teams play the way I want. There are storms, problems, but what is nice is to improve on that. City have been a joy to watch ever since." Sarri said last week that Guardiola was lucky to have kept his job after the travails of that first season, but City are reaping the rewards of keeping faith with their manager and eschewing the trigger-happy approach of their opponents at Wembley. Chelsea have achieved great successes in the Roman Abramovich era, but not since Jose Mourinho was fired after his first spell at the club, when he really was special, has the team's identity been able to survive the dizzying changes in the man at the helm of the team. City became a byword for upheaval in the years before Sheikh Mansour's takeover, but now they stand for continuity of style. There is a maturity about Guardiola's side that makes them better equipped to take a tilt at the greatest season any English club has achieved. They can still look vulnerable, of course. There was a worrying fragility about them in the first half against Schalke, but the way they came from behind to win that game in the last 5 minutes suggested a greater mental toughness. Of course, they may lose to Chelsea, and there are huge obstacles in their way in the Champions League and in the Premier League. Maybe winning all 4 is an impossible dream, but the point with City is this: it will be fun watching them try.